Welcome back to Learn English with Stories. Have you ever had to negotiate and felt unsure about what to say? Should you push harder or accept the deal? Today's story is about Michael, a sales executive who had to handle an important negotiation with a difficult client. At first, he thought it was all about price, but later he realized it was about something much deeper. Let's begin. Michael had been working in sales for several years. He was experienced, confident, and used to dealing with different types of clients. Most of the time, he could handle conversations smoothly, but this situation was different. One of the company's long-term clients was considering renewing their contract. However, there was a problem. The client wanted a significantly lower price. "If you can't match this offer, we may have to look for another supplier," the client said during a meeting. Michael remained calm, but inside he felt the pressure. This was an important account. Losing this client would affect the company's revenue. At first, Michael focused only on the numbers. He reviewed the pricing options. He calculated the possible discounts. He tried to find a way to match the client's expectations. But no matter how he looked at it, lowering the price too much would not be sustainable. "This won't work," he thought. For a moment, Michael felt stuck. He had two choices. He could accept the lower price and close the deal quickly, or he could refuse and risk losing the client. Neither option felt right. That evening, Michael sat at his desk, thinking carefully. Then he realized something. Maybe the negotiation was not just about price. Maybe he needed to understand what the client really wanted. The next day, Michael scheduled another meeting. This time, he approached the conversation differently. Instead of immediately discussing numbers, he asked questions. "Can you share what is most important for your company in this partnership?" he asked. The client paused for a moment. Then he replied, "We need reliability, and we need better support when issues happen." Michael listened carefully. This was new information. The problem wasn't only about cost, it was also about service and support. Now Michael saw an opportunity. Instead of reducing the price significantly, he proposed a different solution. "We may not be able to match the lowest price, but we can offer faster response times, dedicated support, and more flexible service options." The client listened. The conversation changed. Now it was no longer just about numbers, it was about value. Over the next few days, they continued discussing the details. Michael adjusted the proposal. He improved the service package. He made sure the client's concerns were addressed. Finally, they reached an agreement. The price was slightly reduced, but more importantly, the client received better service and support. It was a balanced outcome, a win for both sides. After the deal was finalized, Michael reflected on the experience. At first, he thought negotiation was about giving discounts, but now he understood something more important. Good negotiation is about understanding needs, creating value, and finding a solution that works for both sides. Now that you've heard the story, let's go through some useful business English words and phrases that appeared in this situation. First, let's look at the word negotiation, which refers to a discussion aimed at reaching an agreement. In business, negotiation is a key skill, especially when dealing with contracts, pricing, and partnerships. Next, we have the word contract, which is a formal agreement between two parties. In this story, the client was considering whether to renew the contract, which made the negotiation more important. Moving on, we come to the word discount, which means a reduction in price. Many people think negotiation is only about giving discounts, but as we saw, there are other factors to consider. Another important term is value, which refers to the benefits or advantages that a product or service provides. Michael realized that instead of lowering the price, he could increase the value offered to the client. We also have the phrase reach an agreement, which means to successfully come to a decision that both sides accept. In the end, both Michael and the client were able to reach an agreement that worked for both of them. Finally, let's look at the phrase win-win situation, which means a result where both sides benefit. This is often the goal in business negotiations, and it was achieved in this story. As you can see, these expressions are very useful in real business conversations, especially when negotiating with clients. So, what can we learn from this story? Negotiation is not just about price. It is about understanding needs, creating value, and finding a solution that works for both sides. If you want to improve your business English for real work situations, learning through stories like this can help you develop both language and practical skills. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the channel for more stories. See you in the next video.